Today's topic is CIA classified books about the pole shift, mass extinctions, and the true Adam and Eve story. This episode focuses on 1966 book, The Adam and Eve Story, by Dr. Chayne Thomas, which was classified by the CIA and partially declassified decades later. The book presents a cataclysmic theory that Earth undergoes regular pole shifts leading to mass extinctions and the destruction of an entire civilization. Thomas claimed that the advanced civilizations has been wiped out multiple times here on Earth due to these recurring pole shifts and that we are due for another catastrophic event. Despite scientific dismissal, some aspects of Thomas' theory, such as pole shifts and global floods, have gained traction over time, but the key evidence remains hidden by the authority. Welcome to Truth versus Authority. I'm Roderick Martin, aka the Symbolizer, TV personality, award-winning podcast host, and backed by 18,700 truth seekers right here on YouTube and reaching thousands of podcast listeners across 126 countries worldwide. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll keep bringing the truth. Get ready, because what you're about to hear, you may not believe it. We've all been told one version of history, haven't we? But what if the story was carefully curated, sanitized by the same people who classify information for our own good? The CIA buried a book in 1966, kept it hidden for 50 years. Why? So what's inside this Adam and Eve story that's so dangerous, so threatening, that they still won't release most of it? The truth could expose more than just ancient history. It could rewrite our future. Therefore, brace yourself, because the real question is, can you handle the truth? We've always been told that human civilization started around 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia and gradually evolving into a complex society as we know today. But what if the story isn't just incomplete? It's a deliberate lie. You see, there is a book, The Adam and Eve Story, written by Dr. Chayne Thomas, which the CIA classified this book in 1966. Classified, not just because it's a dangerous pseudoscience like they have led us to believe, but because it might contain the real history of humanity, the one that they don't want us to know. Thomas' book talks about pole shift, cataclysmic events that wipe out civilizations in a matter of hours, leaving survivors to rebuild from the rubble. And according to him, we aren't just the first advanced civilization here on Earth. But what if everything we've been told is part of a larger agenda to keep us ignorant? Now, according to a few pages they did declassify, Thomas said that pole shifts were cyclical, that they happened before and that they're going to happen again. So, if the truth had been manipulated for a long time, who's really pulling the strings here? The government, the media, the scientific community? They all benefit by maintaining the illusion of control by ensuring we stay complacent, unprepared, and most importantly, oblivious. Think about it. If people knew the world as we knew it could be obliterated overnight, wouldn't that undermine, every power structure in place? Therefore, if we don't start asking these tough questions now, and if we don't pull back those curtains and see what's hiding behind it, then we'll never be ready for what's coming. This is just the beginning. The real question is, are you ready to find out what they have been hiding? Because the stakes are higher than what you think. We've all heard about the government cover-ups, haven't we? UFOs, secret programs, classified files. But what if this isn't just about the routine misinformation or misdirection? What if the Adam and Eve story, the dusty old book classified by the CIA in 1966, isn't just a collection of pseudoscience ramblings, but the key understanding to a deeper, more orchestrated deception? A deception that's led by very institutions that we're told to trust. Why did they even bother to classify it at all? And why even now, after declassifying it, are key parts of the book still missing or sanitized? Here's where it gets interesting. The theory of pole shift, global floods, and mass extinction events wiping out advanced civilization is not as crazy as they have you to think. So why hasn't anyone dared to seriously question this? Look around you. Those in power, the ones that are controlling the narrative, have spent decades burying this inconvenient fact. Take Dr. Thomas, for instance. His book, classified by the CIA, suddenly have ideas that are dismissed as pseudoscience. Now, is that a coincidence? Or maybe not, just maybe because the challenge in the status quo puts a big target on your back. Look at how mainstream science handles the alternative theories: ridicule, dismissal, assurance. Doesn't that feel a little too coordinated? If you think that's an accident, absolutely not. Therefore, it's time to push back. See, the deeper we dig, the more we uncover their hidden agenda. The CIA didn't just classify this book to protect us from bad science. They classified it because it threatens the delicate house of cards that they built. This isn't just a theory anymore. It's becoming a reality. If the pole shifts are real, if ancient civilization were wiped out in an instant, what does that mean for us, for everything we think we know? This changes everything. The fight for the truth begins now, and this is only the beginning. Now, we thought this was just about a classified book, some obscure conspiracy from the 60s locked away for decades. But this isn't just about what we see on the surface. The manipulation goes deeper than what we can ever imagine. Now, I want you to look at how media immediately dismissed Dr. Chen's work after the CIA classified it. They didn't even investigate the claims. They just labeled it pseudoscience and moved on. Now, this is real convenient, right? But that's just the tip of the iceberg. See, when the government, the media, and even scientific establishments work in unison to suppress information, you gotta wonder, what are they so desperate to hide? They've done this before. And remember when the continental drift was pseudoscience? Now it's an accepted fact. But ask yourself, how many of these truths have been buried, mocked, or erased entirely that they didn't fit the narrative? Thomas wasn't just talking about ordinary catastrophes. He was talking about a cyclical global cataclysm, pole shift that happened in a single day, turning advanced civilizations to dust, plunging us back into the Stone Age. I want you to think about this for a second. If this is true, that every history book, every scientific fact, and even an institution that claim to know the origins of civilization is flat out wrong. So what's really going on here? It's bigger than one book, one theory. They have infiltrated every layer of society, and their influence stretches further than anyone who is willing to admit it. But governments, backed by corporate interests controlled in the media, dictating what information is fed to the public. Scientists, supposed to be the keepers of truth, they're funded by the same corporations, and do you think they're going to bite the hand that feeds them? Absolutely not. They're going to protect the status quo at all costs, those in power benefiting from our ignorance, because if we know the truth, the entire structure of society would collapse. The writing is on the wall, if you dare to look closely. The public, they're kept in the dark, left to believe the lies that keep them docile and compliant. This isn't about protecting us from fear, it's about control. Now, I want you to think about it. If people knew that we was on the edge of another global cataclysm, would they go on living their lives like nothing is wrong? Would they trust the government to save them when the time comes? No. See, mass panic would ensue, and those in power, they can't afford that. Therefore, the truth isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. And the deeper we dig, the more we see how they're orchestrated everything from behind the curtains. Now, connections are everywhere. Scientific discoveries swept under the rug, historical anomalies ignored, ancient civilization like Atlantis reduced to a myth. They want you to believe that these are all fantasies because omitting the real would mean admitting that they lied for centuries. And let's think about it. Their web of control is so deeply embedded that even questioning it puts it on the fringe of society. Reality is manipulated. Perception is controlled. We're not just talking about the government covering up a disaster. We're talking about the entire framework of reality being shaped by those in power to keep us blind, to keep what's really happening. Now, why else would they work so hard to suppress the book? It's not because they are afraid of the truth coming out. It's because they know the truth would tear their world apart. Therefore, if we don't continue digging, and if we don't start questioning the narrative and pushing back, we'll never uncover what they're truly hiding. This is bigger than what we ever imagined. Now, the clock is ticking, and we're running out of time. What happens next? It could change everything. We thought that this was just about the government cover-ups and media manipulation, right? But what if the conspiracy is bigger than we can imagine? What if the real power isn't just with the CIA, the government, or the media? What if they're just pawns in a much larger game? Here's the kicker, though. Dr. Chan Thomas wasn't just talking about pole shift buried within the book. He hints of something even more shocking. The true architects of this agenda are far older than any other government. Ancient powers, forces that have shaped history for thousands of years. Think about it. What if everything we've been told from origins of civilization to nature itself is part of a bigger plan? One that's been unfolding for millennia and hidden in plain sight. Now, the forces aren't just influencing governments, they're influencing science, culture, and even how we perceive time. What if they'd done this before? So it turns out the real architects of this agenda is more powerful, more deeply embedded in the system than we can ever suspect it. This isn't just a conspiracy, it's an orchestrated effort to control everything, every catastrophe, every rise and fall of civilizations, all part of the cycle that's been engineered to keep us in the dark. They control not only what we know, but what we're allowed to discover. Therefore, we've been looking in the wrong places. The real power isn't just the hands of politicians or media moguls. It's in the hand of ancient elites, forces that transcend the government and corporation. They've manipulated history to suit their agenda, keeping us trapped in a loop of ignorance and compliance. The powers that be have a script for us, but it's time to rewrite it. Therefore, what happens next would expose the truth in ways you've never seen before. And the fight for the truth is only the beginning, and the stakes have never been higher. We've been building to this moment, peeling back the layers and after layer, and now the truth stands before us. But the truth isn't just inconvenient, it's undeniable. Everything we thought we knew, our history, our science, our reality, has been manipulated from the very start. It's not just a matter of classified documents or forgotten books, isn't it? No, it's about a systematic control embedded so deeply that we barely even notice. The evidence has been right here, hidden in plain sight, buried under centuries of carefully crafted deceptions. Undeniable proof, buried beneath layers of manipulation, conspiracy, suppression. Think about the pole shift, the earthship of ancient civilization, the cyclical nature of these global cataclysms. They knew, they always knew. So this is how they've done it, controlling the narrative, reshaping the history, silencing anyone who dares to challenge the official story. Take a look how seamlessly it is all connected. Government funds the research that supports their version of the events. The media spins the story to keep us complacent. The corporations profit from the ignorance and selling us the illusion of progress while the real power hides in the shadows, pulling the strings. Every flood myth, every ancient monument, every unexplainable artifact, explained away or dismissed as folklore, all to keep us in the dark. Now they've shaped our reality, our politics, our worldview, built on lies designed to keep the truth locked away. And we bought it, didn't we? We accepted a comfortable narrative that one says humanity's always marched forward or progressing steadily from the Stone Age to the modern age. Therefore, we can't no longer ignore it. This is just the moment of truth. The real architects is deception, and the ones operating behind the government, media, and corporations and ancient powers, wealthy elite, families like the Astors. They're not just been part of the history, they've rewritten it. They have ensured that every rise and fall of civilization has been orchestrated to serve their agenda. And every time the world comes too close to a collapse, they're ready, they're standing at the helm, guiding us blindly into the next cycle of destruction and rebirth. The stakes have never been higher because now we know everything that they kept hidden, everything that they've silenced, it all leads here. This isn't just about ancient cataclysms or forgotten history. This is about control. And they're not just fighting to keep the truth buried, they're fighting to maintain the grip on power as the truth threatens to tear it all apart. Everything is at stake now. This isn't just a conspiracy theory. This is reality, and the future depends on how we respond to this revelation. The question is, will you continue to live under the shadow, or will you finally stand up and expose them for what they know? The truth is out. Now those in power are scrambling. The media, they're working overtime, slapping the conspiracy theory label on anything that challenged their precious narrative. Every outlet is pushing the same talking points, trying to discredit and trying to divert. The cracks are showing. The government is throwing in distractions left and right, New crises, new scandals, everything pulled attention away from what's really happening. Yet, despite all of this, the grip on the story is slipping and you can see the panic is setting in. So what happens now? Their system? Well, you know, it's built on lies and manipulation. It's starting to collapse. The truth is spreading faster than they can contain it, and they know it. Therefore, the fight is far from over. And as their control unravels, they will grow even more desperate, resorting to keep deeper lies, bigger distractions, and more aggressive tactics. If we let our guards down now, they'll find new ways to deceive, manipulate, and regain control. Vigilance is everything, and we can't afford to stop here. And if you're tired of being fed the lies, it's time to act. Hit that subscribe button and join the community that refuses to back down. I need you to share this podcast, share this video with everyone you know, with friends, family, anyone who's still in the dark. Help them see what's really going on. This isn't just about a conspiracy video or a podcast. This is a movement. The more eyes on this, the harder it becomes for them to bury the truth. Therefore, if you want to show where you stand, I want you to visit the website truthversusauthority.store and grab the gear that tells the world that you are awake. This isn't just merchandise, it's a statement. The fight for the truth isn't just ours, it's yours too. Subscribe, share, and be the reason someone else wakes up to the lies that they've been told. The truth won't be silenced, and neither will we.